Good morning, everybody. My name is Joseph Publon, meteorologist with WisconsinWX.com. We're going to talk about a few things today. Mainly just want to touch base, see how you guys are doing, talk about the weather. So right now, I'm looking outside and it's a beautiful day. I don't see a cloud. I see some really high cirrus clouds, really thin, but pretty good day out so far. Let's take a look around the state here. We do have a lot of sun showing up around here, but we do have some pockets of clouds. Maybe those are high clouds, but I do expect more clouds that kind of come in throughout the day. Temperatures in the 50s already. It started the day, it shot up pretty quickly, the temperatures this morning. So it's a really good day so far. Here are the forecasted high temperatures in the mid 50s, even close to 60 in the south. Yeah, away from the lake in the south. It's looking pretty good. Let's go to the warning situation. Now, we don't have any real big threats right now. I mean, flooding is always a thing in the spring. You see a lot of these polygons across the rivers and stuff. That might be like a central Wisconsin. Is that the Wisconsin River there? Yeah, you can kind of see that blue line that kind of comes down and through. So maybe there's something there. But a big area of blue winter weather advisory out in Minnesota and even northern Iowa, where I think snow is going to be coming in. Snow and maybe a little bit of a mix there. But with this system that's coming through for tonight and mainly it's going to be for us. It's going to be Friday night, but for them, and maybe it's like any time now. But that's snow there. Let's see here. Okay, so where are we at now? Okay, so we're bumming along pretty good here. Let's see. The red line is what we have observed for temperatures. This looks like the last data was still in late March, but kind of right around average. Okay, we're not too far above, not too far below, and we've kind of been in that same mode for a while. It looks like in mid-March we did have a spike up in here. So again, right around average, just progressing gradually throughout spring, which is good. I mean, what I'm looking to avoid is the snow. I'm looking to avoid the cold. This gives everybody a chance to get outside in the sun, and it's dealable. It's doable. It helps. It definitely helps the situation. Yes. So gradual increase throughout the spring, and you can see that as we go through April, we really do see a big turn in temperature as well. From about 40 degrees here in Green Bay on average, closer to 50, low 50s, and then approaching 60 by May for high average temperature there throughout April. So that's good. Okay. Here's the 7-day forecast. This is just showing you that we have some 50s here. I have the temperature a little bit lower for Friday. This might be location dependent. It's all location dependent. It's always colder north, a little bit warmer south. But with the clouds working in here on Friday and the rain chances, it's probably going to be a little bit cooler. The way things are shaping up today, warmer here today, with just a chance. Even that could be removed. I don't even worry about that. Partly cloudy. And then another rain chance early next week. But that's looking a little bit better than it did before. As far as temperatures go, maybe another shot there at 60s. But look, we're not seeing any 40s. Maybe the overnight lows get down closer to freezing. But this is an improvement. This is definitely good news there as far as weather goes. No big issues, no big problems, thankfully, in the next 7 days. Here's a temperature graph showing you where the average for Wisconsin Rapids there in central Wisconsin is about 50 degrees. This black dashed line. I'm not seeing much of an improvement from Thursday to Wednesday in the average. I would like to see a bigger jump, maybe 2 degrees per week, in the average temperature. We want to see that gradual improvement, but we are seeing it in the forecast from 56 up to maybe 60s there early next week, potentially. So good. That's good. Good. Okay, let's go talk about some of the other things that we like to talk about, like the Arctic Oscillation. Now, this is always a big thing for me. I like to talk about this. Now, we are right here. You can see that, look at where we've come from, all right? We were way positive throughout February, most of January, and March was positive too, all positive. Now we seem to have dropped down into this neutral zone here in the last week or so. And that seems to be continuing on. Now, there's a lot of fluctuation in the operational models. Initially, they showed an eastern trough. They have backed off on that, and then they went to a western trough, and then they backed off on that. So there's some more fluctuation in there. And I think partially having to do with uncertainty around the AL, because sometimes the GFS wants to take this way negative. Not way negative, just negative. And sometimes, like it is today, it's sort of saying neutral or slightly positive. I'm just going to keep it in that neutral zone. for now. We'll see. It's hard to say which way it goes, but it's an indication that the positive AO regime that has been in place for a long time has it's now weakened or unraveling as we head here deeper into spring. Typically, that leads to a more stormy weather pattern, but we'll see how that shapes out. Here's the MJO, just showing you we're at 4 right now, 5, 6, 7. As we get into April, I'm going to pay less attention to it. Just showing we're right here in 4. Yeah, then we'll be heading towards 5 probably. And maybe a long shot later in April towards 8, and that's a warm phase. If we go take a look at temperature phases here, 6 is a warmer phase for the eastern United States, so you're probably not going to get that eastern trough with that MJO. And then the phase 7 is cooler, which is kind of an interesting flip-flop there. I'm not sure how that works out. And then phase 8 is warmer again. So it's kind of like a wild ride. I wouldn't say that there's much you can take away from this, essentially, other than saying, it might be prone to shifting or changing there. And again, this is kind of a long shot still because we're right now currently in 4 and 5. So if we go look at 4 and 5, 4 is kind of a toss up. I mean, the warmer west, colder east typically, but you're not seeing that so much in the operational miles. And then 5 it tends to be colder up here across the northern plains. These are weak signals. Taking a look at the operational, actually these are the ensemble mean temperature for 7-day blocks. This one's centered is valid on Saturday, April 11th. So I think that's from the 7-day period prior to that. So from the 6th to the 11th, showing you actually pretty warm here across the United States. And if I go back in time, so more near to the near term, that cold is kind of constricted in that 7-day block, mainly to the northwest of Wisconsin, north central United States. As we go through time, the GFS ensembles do try to bring in more cold. I don't know. I mean, there's a potential that we could, change our pattern there in mid-April, but I don't know. This seems a little bit far-fetched yet. We'll see. We'll definitely see. I'm not ruling it out. Just saying, for the near term, it looks like it's mainly a warmer pattern, which is great. That's great news. We want to keep it that way. Looking at precipitation trends on the ensembles for these same 7-day blocks, actually showing more of a negative, a drier signal. But this can change really quickly, and it doesn't take too much. Going with our monthly forecast, I've kind of have it at a near normal pattern, near normal signal, because at any time a convective system or a low pressure system can just, in the 4 to 7 day time frame, with it so fluctuating so heavily right now, this is just sort of like it's a hard signal to say. So I'm not saying it's going to be dry. I'm not saying it's going to be very wet. Just somewhere in between there, I think. But yeah, you're seeing here no real clear signal except for down in the Gulf. Yeah, I mean, so we're not really too concerned about that. So that's. Let's take a look at the 500 millibar polar jet, and then so basically earlier this week I was looking at a system for next week that had an interesting connection between the subtropical and then the polar jet connection going on. As we go into next week now, this is not coming together. It's coming together later, which is usually when it shoves it back, it may not happen at all. So I'm not too concerned, because this is when it was typically. So Tuesday into Wednesday next week was the time frame I was watching, and now this is what it's showing. It's not quite there for Wisconsin, and this is more of a drier pattern actually. But as we go into next week, maybe later next week we start to see this energy kind of coalesce and come together for a storm across the central United States. I don't know. We'll see. This is the GFS. And the European, I think, does hint at that, closer to 220 to 240 hours. But again, we're getting into the time of year. So in winter, it's pretty a lot easier to do the long-range stuff because the weather patterns are typically a little bit more clearly defined. Now, as you go into spring, it gets a little bit more wild, and you start to shorten that forecast time frame to a reliable. So it goes maybe from 7 or 10 days out. Maybe you shorten that back down to 3 or even less. In spring, certainly summer, you're definitely looking at the 5-day to 3-day or less time frame where you're really getting good detailed information. So again, anything here out at $200, I'm sort of skeptical of right now. But who knows? And this could be a signal of a weather pattern change that is bigger than the operational model and is maybe just not picking up that detail. For example, here's this is off the latest 12Z GFS run. That's as far as I could take it out, this comparison, but showing you that trough here, right here, you see that nice trough. But if we take a look at the previous model runs for that exact same time frame, it's been changing. There is that southern stream energy in this one, and then it's sort of back over here, probably 1,000 miles to the west, and then the polar jet's not even involved. And then now on our latest one, now the polar jet is involved. So it just keeps changing over and over and over again. So we'll see. Now, if we take the GFS we're going to just reload this really quick, and then I'll maybe try to zoom in a little bit. This is the GFS forecast for precipitation type and pressure, and just showing you. We got a system coming in here. Like I said, we have those advisories out here for snow and mix in Minnesota and Iowa. You're seeing that now and here. And then here's Wisconsin. You're seeing mainly a rain threat. But as this cold front kicks through, that's where you're getting your rain. It's a pretty sharp cold front, and the low pressure center is up here, and everything's sort of stretched out, really thinned out, and you're not getting the moisture to come north with it. This is not a setup that you would typically expect to find thunderstorms with. Maybe there'll be some embedded thunder, but I'm looking this time of year, I'm looking for severe weather, strong thunderstorms. I'm not seeing that signal with this one, for Wisconsin at least. And then you see probably pretty cold front coming through, but that doesn't last long. It's not a prolonged thing. And then by middle of next week, again, this was supposed to be that storm system on initial model runs where I thought maybe you could have some severe weather with it, but the latest trends have been weakening, and I'm going to back away from that for now. But yeah, and then here's the system for that the latest GFS is showing for Friday into Saturday of next week. Potentially, again, this is very much on thin ice, so we'll see. Okay, let's take a closer look at the storm system for Thursday night. This Thursday into Friday, you're seeing that mix there across Minnesota. Again, I'm not too concerned about it. I think if anything does fall, it's going to melt pretty quick. And then the rain coming through Wisconsin. And then this is overnight, Friday into Saturday, early Saturday morning, poof, gone. I think the bigger story is going to be the temperature. This is Thursday, so this is today. You're seeing those temperatures warm pretty nicely, close to 60. This is off of the NAM across southwest Wisconsin. Then the cold front here approaching from the west overnight into Friday. So this is Friday morning. You're seeing a cold front impinging with that rain probably in here somewhere, and then it clears the state Friday night into Saturday. Probably a pretty cold morning there on Saturday for a lot of us, but it's going to warm up then pretty nicely on Saturday into the 40s. Again, not as warm as it's been, but probably a little bit cooler as a result of that cold front. And then, but yeah, so that's basically the main story with the Friday night system. The cold front moving in, maybe some wind gusts or something. Okay, that's what I got for you. Check out our website for more information. Yeah, I hope you guys are all staying safe out there, taking care. With this weather, when the sun's out, man, get outside, go for a walk, get some fresh air, long walks. Challenge yourself to do something that you maybe never normally did. I always love to just take longer and longer walks. Like, I can't walk across the entire city in a day. Well, maybe I can. Just do something that's sort of ridiculous. That's my challenge to you. But anyways, hang in there, guys. Thanks for tuning in and watching, and I will keep you updated. Thank you, and talk to you soon.